Buenas tardes, clase. Today we're going to go back to some stem changing verbs. So that's why I've labeled it part 2. If you remember before, we learned quite a few stem changing verbs where we changed the E to IE, right? Verbs like pensar, or verbs like entender. Okay, there was a lot of them. There was like 8 of them or something like that. Today, we're going to not do those. We're actually going to learn a new set of stem changing verbs, and we're going to learn verbs that go from O to UE. O to UE. So, as a review, stem changing verbs only change where? Well, hopefully you remember this. They change inside the boot. Inside the boot. So, these words that I'm going to list, they all have in their stem, they have an O. And you're going to change that inside the boot to a UE. Alright? Remember, just like the last stem changing verbs, they stay the same in nosotros over here and in vosotros, although we don't use them very commonly. And they conjugate the same on the end of the verb. But within, they change from O to UE. Okay? So I'm going to list the verbs on the next slide, and then we'll practice some of those. All right, so I have them all written down in English here, and I'm going to write down now for you the translations, and then we will do some examples. To eat lunch is almorzar. Almorzar. To count is contar. Contar. That can also be used as to tell or retell like a story, but we're going to use it like saying to count, okay? To cost is costar. To return, and specifically I have an item because later on we have a person down here returning. This is returning an item. Devolver. Devolver. To sleep, dormir. Dormir. To find, encontrar. Encontrar. To be able to, or sometimes we say it as can, is poder. Okay, this one, you definitely know this one. Puedo ir al baño. Okay, puedo ir al baño. Can you remember that? Good segue into remember, which is recordar. Recordar. And then for a person to return or to come back is volver. Now, as you can see, all of these somewhere in the stem have an O. All right, we have it right here, marking them. But as you can also see, they end different ways. Here's an AR, 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 but here we have ER, here we have IR, back to AR, etc. So, as you can remember from the stem changing verbs before, you only stem change the O to UE in the boot, and then also you follow the regular rules for conjugation. Okay? So if I want to say, I eat lunch at 1, I can say it like this. Yo almuerzo. Okay, yo almuerzo, because that's the conjugation of almorzar. I changed the O to a UE, and then I have my correct ending. Again, my O went to a UE, and then I have my ending for yo. Okay, and then a la una. Okay, but what about this? I sleep. You know what? Let's actually have that as you. You sleep Then I have tú. And then what's the verb to sleep? Okay. Well, the verb to sleep is dormir. So I'm going to take my stem and I'm going to change my O to a UE. So I have duer. But I have to still conjugate it correctly for the IR, right? So what's the conjugation for tú with IR? It's ES. Tú duermes. All right? Let's look at a few more examples. What about this one? What if I say, we remember? We remember. Well, we is nosotros. What is to remember? To remember is recordar, right? Recordar is to remember. But where does we fall on the chart? We falls up here, right? Is we within the boot? No, it's not. So, and we would not change recordar to recuerdamos. It's still recordamos. You leave the O alone. In this one, we leave it right there because it is outside the boot. All right. Let's do one more. What about this? They return the book. They return the book. So we're returning an item. So we're going to use devolver as return the item. Okay, so they, ellos, my O goes to UE because I'm inside the boot over here. Devuel, and then what's my ending for they for an ER verb? Devuelven el libro. All right. So, as a review of the rules, we only stem change inside the boot. And then also remember, we need to follow regular conjugation rules for the endings. All right, so we only stem change inside the boot and we follow regular conjugation rules for the endings. All right, I think that's going to be all for tonight. So, buen trabajo. Y, oops, buen trabajo, not buen trabajos. There we go. Y nos vemos mañana. Adiós.